And also, in something like The Philanthropist, you got the benefit of what The Sims had done for you, because that was a posh role, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
And so it's been very useful to you as an actor to have both voices, the Cockney and the posh.
Yes. And not to lose the Cockney, because I've needed it. And to get away with the posh.
The Cockney is very important because it was one of the most important roles of your career. Arthur Daly, when you were presumably you were sent one script, were you?
No, I wasn't sent a script. I was, what was I doing? Oh, I was doing Brimstone and Treacle.
Dennis Potter play.
Yes.
Oh. It had been banned from TV, a very harsh play.
Yeah. I used to say to my wife, as I went off to the theatre, I'm going up to London to spend 2 hours arguing with my wife. It was awful. And so suddenly I got a message. Would I meet George Taylor and Lloyd...
Yeah, God, what's his name? Euston Films.
Yes. Anyway, got a message to meet them at a hotel in, I think, Jermyn Street. And I said, I can't, no, I've got to do this play. And then it came back again and said, look, just come and have a drink. So I thought, all right. And I said to my agent, why have I got to meet them? Because I've done armchair theatre for them and all that sort of thing. They know what I can do. They said, well, you go and see them. So on the way to the theatre, I went to see them. And Lloyd Shirley and George Taylor handed me a format, and said, read that. So I read it, and I couldn't stop laughing. And they said, we want to do a series of that character. How do you feel? I said, I think that was wonderful. I'm quite happy with having read that. And I think it was Lloyd who said, do you think you got the stamina for it? That was the first episode of 107 episodes, so I must have had the stamina for it. But it was a joy to do.
And so when there was a first script, when you looked at him, did you get him instantly? Could you see?
Absolutely. When I read the format, it said Arthur Daly is right behind the present Home Secretary as far as law and order is concerned. His favourite film is The Godfather, and he dresses like a dodgy member of the Citizen Advice Bureau. And I thought, that's enough for me. I know exactly who that man is. And I didn't get a script until we started.
And you also thought, presumably, I can use that accent that The Sims made me give up.
Yes.
And often in these big television roles, Inspector Morse is an example for John Thor, or Del Boy for David Jason. It's important that they're part of a double act, that the other actor has been important in those, Nicholas Lyndhurst or Kevin Whately. That was certainly true in the case of Minder, wasn't it? That it was crucially a double act.
Absolutely. And it was such fun to do. He's a lovely actor to work with, makes very good suggestions, and he gives as much as he gets, which is good.
So when you first met Dennis, had you worked with him or known him before?
We were sitting in the car in Minder, in the street. I was sitting in the back. He was in the front with a girl. And he started talking about this film he was in, called Fright. And I said, you weren't in that film. I was in that film. He said, you weren't. I said I was. It turned out that I'd only come into the film after he'd been killed, and he was lying face down in the hall, and I stepped over him. But apart from that, I did one Sweeney, so I didn't know him.
As soon as you met, it worked as a combination.
I think we circled each other for about 3 days and then realised that neither of us were fighting for the billing, and that we were both enjoying each other's company.
And did you ever get sick of each other?
No. Because he had the front of the Winnebago and I had the back. And we didn't spend much of our spare time, because only an hour for lunch. He was a great pub person and a great football person, and I'm neither of those things. And if you've spent 26 weeks together, you don't seek out each other necessarily when you're not working. But we go and see each other. I mean, he came to see me in Party Peace at Windsor, and we went to see him in My Fair Lady, which was absolutely wonderful. And at Party Peace, he came and he said, where are you going next week? I said, we're in Eastbourne. And as he went out the stage door, he said, "Now you be careful. Watch out for those women in Eastbourne. And remember, they're all older than you."
Did you ever fall out on it? Ever have an argument over a scene?
No. No, we used to meet in makeup and do all our chatting there and work out that scene, this scene, or whether we liked it or whether we didn't. And also, when somebody new came in, we made sure they came into the Winnebago, and if they had a lot of tricky stuff, worked it through with us, and they were very happy with that. And we had wonderful casts. They were really lovely. When
it started to go out in 1979, presumably quite early on, you got a sense that it was a hit, that it was working.
No. First of all, it was delayed because Thames went on strike.
Oh, they were on strike, that's right. Yeah.
So we only did 11, and they went out. And they went out in the Sweeney spot. And we got some reaction, but not very much. But what was interesting, and this was what was so wonderful about Euston Films, before we'd finished the first series, they commissioned a second one.
Which would never happen now, would it?
No, you wouldn't get if you get to number 6 probably, and they say you're not getting 15 million viewers, so goodbye. And the next series we did 13, and we still didn't get in the ratings. But the third series, we suddenly appeared in the ratings, and we went very, very high. And you knew something was happening because taxi drivers would say, "How's her indoors?" Or others of them would say, "You must pay that boy a bit more money, it's not fair." And you've sensed they caught on to the characters. And from then on, we didn't look back.
When you first did it, what became the catchphrases, her indoors, nice little earner, did you realise when you first said them that they were?
No, we just thought they were delightful phrases, but no idea. I mean, her indoors is now in the Oxford Dictionary. Yeah. Extraordinary.
And so people would start giving you a nice little earner, you'd get those phrases back.
Yes, all the time, yeah. And people trying to sell me Japanese Havana cigars.
Did you ever get irritated by that level of attention from people?
No. The one thing I learned very quickly, you can't do window shopping. Otherwise you'll get buttonholed and told the details of the last 6 episodes of Minder. So you've got to keep moving. The only time it got worrying is when you're going down the motorway at 60 miles an hour and somebody passes you at 70, winds down the window and says, that's quite worrying, and you quickly pull into the slow lane.
Some actors, once they get involved in a hit, although it's great to be in one, they start worrying about how long to stay in it, and there are actors who have left series for that reason because they fear typecasting. Did you worry about that, being in it for so long?
No. I mean, you if you're enjoying it and it's good, you're getting good scripts, don't worry about typecasting. I mean, it's other people and critics worry about typecasting, but as an actor, and certainly at my age, I'm not worried about typecasting. Just give me a job.
But you did Minder for so long, and Dennis Waterman left it, and you went on, and he was replaced. Did it remain as satisfying for you right through?
Yes, it did, in a different way. Gary Webster was a completely different animal to Dennis, but I enjoyed working with him very much. Thames lost the franchise, that's why it finished. But we came in with Mrs. Thatcher, and we outstayed her by 5 years.
On the Mrs. Thatcher point, I was going to raise that because you probably know, apart from being in the Oxford English Dictionary, quite serious books now about British politics say that Minder, Arthur Daly, was all part of the Thatcherite revolution, and that's why people liked it. Did you ever think about any of that?
I only thought about it after, when people said, how do you feel about doing some more now? And you have to say, no, it's had its time. It was a time of greed. And he certainly was a greedy man. But people enjoyed that because they'd like to do that and get away with it.
And it's the same as David Jason's Del Boy. I mentioned that they belong to that period very much.
Absolutely,
don't they?
Yes.
70s, 80s,
Yeah.
You mentioned being asked to do more. Have there been attempts to bring it back over the years?
No, people have said, would you consider doing more? And I've said no.
You would never?
Well, you must never say that, must you? No.